Okay, time to do that thing. Let's do that. Okay. Nice. Aaron, hello. How you doing? Really well. Helps if I stream as well. Um, yeah, streaming hasn't been uh, really easy the last couple of weeks, so gotta get back into a schedule of some form. I'm doing okay. Doing okay. If I'm being honest, I've had a few weeks of um, doubt and questioning, looking at architectures, looking at people's opinions on architectures, looking at AI stuff, and it's really kind of thrown me a little bit. So I've not been as engaged with the code, um, which is why I haven't streamed as much, because sitting here streaming development of stuff that is not entertaining me is not going to work well. So I've been kind of debating how I proceed. But I'm going to proceed nonetheless. If this mouse doesn't stop jumping around. Yeah, I mean, it's normal, right? It is very normal. What we do as uh, there's ups and downs to it. Oh my goodness me! So, what I have been working on, and hopefully I can demonstrate it without any errors. Uh, Come on! Oh, did I forget to bring everything up? I forgot to bring everything up, didn't I? Yes, I did. Things don't work if you don't start all your Docker components first. Things tend to go very badly wrong. When you're starting 22 projects, that can take a while to recover. So I've been looking at a lot at different architectures, different approaches. I've seen a few people put out comments, and I don't know if you're in my Discord, but a few people sharing, like Nick Chapsis has released a few videos recently on opinions on things I don't do anymore, and one of them was clean architecture, which is what Liquid Sky um, follows. Um, and it's just kind of made me reflect a little bit and think about what I'm doing, and sometimes I step back and have to think, uh, do I need to defend this? Um, do I need to um, do I need to justify what I'm doing? How do I look at this? Um, yeah, did that give you a Discord? There's a link in the cards below on Twitch and on YouTube. Uh, Darren and Dota, thank you very much for 31 months. Um, so, and I do this often. I go through this with with anything I do. Like, am I copying? Am I just doing what everyone else is doing? Am I behind on other people? And oftentimes you are, if you're building something, because things have shifted and you don't. We can't just um, change what we've done, right? We can't just shift because a new trend or a new way of looking at things comes along. Um, it's how do you adapt and when do you adapt? Um, no, there is no right one. You're right, Dora. There's and if I look at what Nick Chaps has said, I actually don't. So I did a bit of a back and forth with AI over vertical slice versus clean architecture, and then I looked at Ardalis's video, and Ardalis is like he's doing something similar well, he's doing a bit more defined, but he's doing clean architecture, but having vertical slices in there. And yeah. So I kind of went through this discussion with the robots over whether I should use VSA or whether I should use clean architecture, and then it was quite a back and forth for a couple of hours. And I got this document out of it to try and give me some talking points or some thought points. Not necessarily. I'm not trying to pretend I'm an expert in this, because at the end of the day, I'm more on the line of the right one is the one I can work in. The right one is the one that I can maintain and I am comfortable with. I see the arguments for when I look at what I've got, because I now know what I've done. Right? I now know more about how this really works as an implementation and the challenges it presents, because I've implemented it. And I think that's oftentimes people are coming from a position of no experience and they're just regurgitating what other people have said. So I want to validate when I'm talking about something that I know why I'm talking about it in that way, and that matters to me very much. I think it's more a use case question, and how broad and narrow the use cases. A couple of hours is kind of wild. So basically, what I did is it kind of pulled it out as, if you're using teams of inexperienced or frequently changing staff, then clean architecture actually works pretty well. If you want quick and you have experienced developers with a lot of discipline, vertical slice works well, right? Yeah, especially when views are the goal, right? It's a different challenge. It's not integrity. There is integrity there, but there's a different motive to the information. So, right. Now, and I considered what would vertical slice truly look like. So the argument was that and I did actually analyze it a little bit. It's like, well, you're kind of doing vertical slice because you're trying to focus on features, right? And like, that's because that makes sense to me. I know that it's an endpoint. It's implicit in the design that it's an endpoint. Yeah. But again, they're all variations on the theme, right? It's just where you put like when we do. If you look at this as a tiered architecture, right? I have an API layer, I have a service layer, and I have a storage layer. It's the exact same thing, just folded differently. Vertical slice is not that much different. It's just all bundled together in folders rather than projects, and it's bundled together in folders so you don't have to jump back and forth, right? Within this, so you can still have this as a component, but this would be 1 or 2 projects instead of 9 projects, right? Because everything's in the folder. But my problem with that is everything's close, and I've seen what happens when there's a lack of discipline in teams. A bit triggering because no behavior implies the app doesn't do much. Explicit versus implicit expression of the behavior. But again, it's have you implemented a large hexagonal project? Personally, implemented it, and have you implemented a large, like, I can't speak to hexagonal versus clean because I haven't built systems of similar behaviors and similar sizes in those architectures to know I wouldn't prefer one over the other, or I'd prefer. And again, all it comes down to is, where do you put your slices, and what rules do you have for how data gets from source to target, right? They're all, you can work in anything. Yeah. So anyway, let's show you what I've been working on. So what I've been trying to do, and I've got some refinements to make to this, I know that. But what I've been focused on the last couple of weeks is my GitHub integration, right? Um, well, what I think is wrong is taking one architecture and trying to turn it into another. I think, like me, with the way I've kind of laid out Kaizu, um, I think I have kind of blended them. Right, I'm not trying to turn it into another. It's just the way I'm thinking about the code, the way I'm evolving my feeling towards how the development goes. Again, I've always said you shouldn't be afraid to change things, right? And it's not an idea; it's an evolution. Again, it's the same idea as when I didn't know about the mediator pattern, but still wrote a mediator because it made sense to do that. It felt right to break it up that way. I wasn't trying to follow architectures. I wasn't trying to follow what people were telling me to do. I was doing that because it felt good. Um, so I don't think there's a necessity in a shift to any particular architecture. I think the thing that matters the most is how maintainable is what you have. And given a team, if I bring a team into this project right now, is it maintainable? Are there pain points? Can we adjust and address pain points differently because a team has a different, way of looking at it? So, but I wouldn't be shifting to a different architecture. But I did assess, okay, what would it mean to make this vertical slice? I don't like what it would do. I think it could lead to a lot of accidental inclusions of things that shouldn't do. I think you could bleed behavior if you're not keeping a tight focus on who's developing and what they're developing. Um, Again, it says for smaller projects with smaller teams, vertical slice is perfect. Which, considering what I'm doing here, this would be more appropriate potentially to do vertical slice because it would be a smaller number of projects and stuff. And Adalis talks about going into organizations and letting and helping them reduce the size of their applications because 100 projects would scare a lot of people, right? And rightfully so. But you know, um, can I get what you're saying? Hexagonal has a ton of flexibility, right? But you don't you don't know what you need. Yeah, right. So you need clarity, you need organization. And if I was to work with a team of um, developers right this second, let's say I bring in a team and they're working on the planning component, right? And I do vertical slice. Everything's in the same place, so I can't guard against without architectural tests. And it does say that to do vertical slice, you need to start with architectural tests. Like you need architectural tests there from the beginning to verify that you've not blurred the line. Like here, if I go to add a reference and it's adding a reference to infrastructure from application, right? That one's wrong. That's an anomaly. But I should only reference domain from application, right? That's kind of an implicit rule. I don't. Yes, because of the tooling, I can actually do that, but it will show the break pretty quick, and we can validate that pretty quickly. But with vertical slice, they're just folders, so they'll include themselves automatically without the prompt. So it could be challenging. Yeah, yeah. So it's uh, it's fun. So what I've been working on is the ability to view branches and PRs in Kaizu. So now you can click on this and it'll take you to the branch. Obviously, the branch isn't there anymore because I've merged it. I can go to the PR and it will show me when I merged it, etc. So I can actually link out. Um, I was having some challenges with the data. So here's one I've created two branches. This PR, okay, that is closed. Yeah, okay. Right. So I've been trying to figure out. So if I do this one, that doesn't take me to the pull request. That's interesting. Oh, because there's no pull request there. Yeah. Yeah. Which one's this against? Feature test open new PR. See, that branch doesn't exist. It's interesting. That branch doesn't exist. Oh, because no. Very three. Yeah. Interesting. I might just be an overlap in the data. Let's have a look. Uh, let's see. Oh, I don't have it. Do I have the history if I open up SME? Got to make a better plan of. Got to make a better plan of this one. Spire. Oops. Yes, I can do that. Okay. So I can't. Stony, hello. How you doing? How's things? Um, so I can't show SME because otherwise you'd have all the hooks for my PRs and stuff, and I don't want to share that necessarily. What I'm trying to find is, can I find that branch I just created? Pull request. Because I have a pull request opened on a branch that I don't have, which is interesting. So I'm trying to verify, can I get that branch to appear? Push, create. Let's see, close PRs. That's that one. Live RG. Yeah, pretty much the same. It'd be cool to take my product reviews AI skill to your code base, planning the main section. Yeah, planning is pretty much the main section. But I'm genuinely not interested in going through any results there and trying to change anything. So just as an FYI, before you spend the time, I don't want to make you think that I'm you're more than welcome to run it through. But I'm not interested in having AI tell me what I'm missing. Let's see if that goes through. Well, again, AI telling me what features are missing. AI only has. Well, I'm working on GitHub integration right now, which you don't have. Well, you would have access to, um, but telling AI what am I missing? It's going to look at other tools and copy what they have. That's all it's going to know about, right? So I'm working in tasks and GitHub sections right this second. So tasks is the focus of this because it links all these together. So the way I've used AI in this is kind of using it as a discussion tool to go back and forth and brainstorm on how I want to approach this. If you say, hey, what features are missing from this code base, it's going to give you a list of features that it thinks based upon other products. So, Darren, you don't have the ability to link in this stream. Yeah, what product? So we only see star asterisks. Always nervous about downloading something that has full control on my PC. This should be good. Okay, so does this branch actually appear? Open code. There we go. There's the branch. Now I need to push the PR. Create branch. Push. Oh, pull request. Pull request. Repository. So the problem is when you're doing this the way I'm doing it, because I could overlap on events and stuff, I might have missed one event. So I can't trust that things aren't working and I just don't see it. Pull request. I haven't tried OpenCode though, no. Oh, I'm either trying the prompt out pure stimulus or for my own sake. You're more than welcome to, though. If you're talking about your product review, I just don't want to know the results. You can happily test it against it. That's why. 3 streams, Stony. I appreciate the commitment. That built trap book I've been reading might be relevant to Kaizu. Huh. I'll take a look. What context? Yeah. So I'm trying to find. Again, I can't share the screen. I was trying to find. Ref. Can't see the wood for the trees right this second. Oh, so the one actionable thing I got out of it was to create some kind of measurement for success on any given feature. It's an important thing. You are committed. I appreciate your commitment. That is a very important thing to assuming we're talking about developing features, we oftentimes don't, unless it's a massive thing, we don't often understand how much impact it has on a system. Yeah. I would retention rate after a change doesn't necessarily that could be skewed without more science there, right? But I would say metrics in the application, understanding usage, understanding getting feedback on any given features is a very useful thing to do. Maybe hello, how you doing? Yeah, fine. If you're showing a banner, make sure people have seen the banner and that is having the desired banner effect. Yes. I'm Geek. How you doing? Dear. I'm not going to take to swearing profusely on stream, etc. But at the same time, I am not trying to censor that hard that I have to put a lot of work in. I wish this had given me the freaking branch. Where is it? I'm supposed to step in here now or something. Nah, you're fine. You're fine. Let's see this thing. The GitHub API for webhooks is pretty good, but I'm not seeing the fields I'm expecting. Where is it? It's not sender. Oh, there. Default branch main. That's not. Let's copy this. That tracks. Okay, can I switch this to JSON in here? Yes, I can. No, I can't. Oh, my goodness me. This is one webhook. Oh, verify test open UPR. That is the one. That's what I was looking for. Somewhere that was in there. No. I don't understand. Either way, I'm going to push that just to test it. Performance-driven teamwork. Dota players are well known for their toxicity. Okay, let's see if this works. Nope. Ooh. Well, let's give it a second. It might not have gone through yet. So the goal here is to be able to show the PRs and the branches against a so this one should show green because it's open when it appears. Oh no, blue because it's open, green when it's merged, red when it's closed. The goal, the ultimate goal on this screen is basically if you go in and see the release and everything's green, then you're good. If you see reds, then that's not good. Now, in this case, I have three branches against this. These two are open, I believe. This one is closed. Oh dear. So what I'm expecting to see, the reason I'm refreshing is because I haven't pulled in anything to do any update of the screen on this piece particularly yet. Yeah, man. See, there's only 2 PRs. So that second PR is not being processed. So I was very much trying to get this organized before I actually started the stream up because I really wanted to be comfortable that these things were generally working. So the way this works, and it's kind of challenging, is I have a process running for SME, which is the proxy for GitHub webhooks. GitHub posts to SME. SME posts to my internal service, which is the GitHub receivers here. That receives the event. Why are you subscribed? Oh, because you need to listen. Oh yeah, that's not what I want. GitHub webhook API. The receivers part because there's a lot of communication back and forth. So what should happen is a event hits this GitHub API, webhook API, says, oh, have I actually fired this message before? Yes, I have. Okay, let me go and create the relevant data. So what I could be missing is I could be missing like open 3701. I don't think that's the actual. Oh, that is that one. Yeah. So let's remove that one. Save that. So that means the idempotency means if I've hit it before and I didn't save anything, then that's why it's. So now I should be able to replay that one, and that should appear here again any second. Oh, there you go. I'm just gonna let it run and see what happens. I know that I'm making a mess of my data here. Why aren't you hitting there? Why didn't you create a record? Vast AI, what's left for the MVP? It's reading everything. Nothing really insightful for the missing features question. Does that mean that your tool thinks that this product is MVP ready? Why didn't you create a record? That's frustrating. Did you create a branch though? Gotcha. Oh, there you go. So now, interesting. It's doing the right thing, but I don't know why it's doing the right thing. That's awesome. So there's definitely quirks with this. There's definitely bugs. I know there is. I'm just what I'm trying to do is, again, to the MVP point, is I'm trying to just do the bare minimum and not be too over opinionated about what I want to see, because I want the feedback on it when I finally do put this out to people. So the idea here is this is showing that there's an open pull request against this one, there's a closed one against this one, there's an open branch. So this would give whoever's the release um, coordinator. I'm going to say coordinator rather than manager, because this person could be a team member, right? Not a manager. So you assign a person to the release to be able to look over it and verify things and have communicate. So that you can take turns on that, right? Not Scrum Master, no, because a release could contain many components from different teams. Just a coordinator. I wonder if you need someone generate. I'm not generating bug reports. What for Kaizu? I don't need an influx of changes right this second. Philosopher Zero. Good. How you doing? Welcome back. So we're just testing branches and pull requests right this second in GitHub. So the idea, again, like I said, is the idea would be that as a release coordinator, you'd be able to see everything's green because all the PRs are merged, which would give you confidence that the pardon me, that the release is on schedule and on track. Not on schedule, on track. Let's see if we make a PR for verify 2 branches. What happens? I need to make a change. How do we tell the release manager why we're behind schedule, hypothetically? Not the purpose of the release manager is to be able to say, hey, by the way, these things aren't happening, these things aren't ready, and give reports out to say, hey, it's up to the teams themselves or up to their management to decide. Add file, create new file, verify 2 branches. .md. We should see changes. Create pull request. The reason I did that is to try and make a distinct change from the other change, which is a change to the README. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with a conflict, and I don't want to mess with conflicts right now. That would be bad. Wow, that takes up quite a lot of my space on my screen. Okay, there you go. So for some reason, Restream did not want to connect today. Restream is how I normally use the chat, but it won't link YouTube, whereas Restream, the actual site, has linked to YouTube, so I can still see comments from YouTube on the actual Twitch chat, but not on my Restream tool. What's the meetings and comments discussions feature? So the meetings feature is to eventually put integrations for Teams and Google Meet into the application so that you can create and launch meetings from within the application. So it will automatically invite any collaborators on those things, and it will allow you a space to track the outcome. So you can put any um, artifacts out, and the comments and discussions feature is intended. Well, it will be discussions eventually, not comments. Will be to allow you to track actual active discussion against items, so that we don't end up with chat happening outside. So things like Slack integration and stuff would probably be useful there, where you could put you could create a Slack channel specifically for a topic, and then have it feed the results. because one of our biggest enemies is having information, disparate information. There you go. There's 2 open PRs. That's working exactly as I intended it to. That's not what I thought would happen, but awesome. So let's close one. Let's close that one. But yeah, I flagged it as an outstanding item. Guess my product review AI prompt is useful. I mean, yeah, it's tracking things that it's identifying things I'm tracking, I suppose. I mean, to be quite blunt, there you go. Nice, it closed it already. Sweet. If you are building a product and not, I mean, okay, I'm not doing the best job of having a workable list because I'm kind of going in larger areas right now. I'm not doing that true product management thing, mainly for time. But I should still be using. Eventually, I will be using the tool to build the tool right properly. And I'm at that point almost where it's very useful for me. I'm going to merge this one. Confirm merge. So, I wonder if I find the tool more useful because I'm not as strong on the product side. Maybe. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I'm not diminishing the idea. I'm just saying that it's identifying stuff I know I'm missing. I know that they're on my list. It's just low down my list, right? So for right now, we have an initiative screen. This isn't perfect. This has still the phases stuff still needs a lot of work. The layout and the design and the flow here needs some work because there's a lot of intended planning. So discussions, etc., is probably a focus here, but the bare minimums here, right? You can create an initiative and then you can add deliverables to the initiative. If you go to planning, you can go into the backlog and you can see deliverables and filter by initiative, and ads for 2 minutes, I'm afraid. We can go into a deliverable and we can define the requirements. We can define the acceptance criteria. These are this is starting to be useful. We can see dependencies. So if we have dependencies on other things, we can actually see them and navigate to them. Review date, I can use review date effectively if I say, oh, I'm going to review that next week or whatever. The challenge with doing it this way, with me doing it on stream and me doing it intermittently on my personal time, is timelines are hard to account for. You know, life happens. I'm not on a 40-hour clock doing this way. I depend on your stream. Oh, thank you. I think. I can now review deliverables. I can go through and say, okay, what are the actual tasks I need to build for any given deliverable based upon requirements so I can do this. I've got this definition here. And again, this will be much larger in the real world. This would be the actual requirements. And I'm actually contemplating adding acceptance criteria as a checklist automatically. I could do it through Markdown. This does support Markdown, so I could kind of show a checklist, but I might actually add it as an actual feature, depending. But you can add tasks against your requirements. You can then actually build out, is this ready for actual execution? We can go through and actually review these things, size these things, etc. It is useful. That failed as well. That's interesting. And we can actually track, we can actually work on things in here, right? So we can actually see progress occurring. And then from a delivery perspective, I can actually identify what features I'm working on and pull them into a release to actually keep a track of that. So I actually do have almost everything I intended for. Oh, although it did update. It came through eventually. Sweet. So that's just the We'll actually do that feature in a second. We'll actually add the ability to push to the client to tell the PR is updated. So yeah, we have. So this is what this is looking like that right now. We've got 2 merged PRs. Now, obviously, I'm identifying a use case here where what if there's actually open PRs that doesn't highlight that, but that says that's green. Well, what's the wrong? So I probably do need to show, you know, uh, some level of difference there to say, oh, maybe it's yellow to say some merged but some open still. Something close doesn't matter, right? Does close matter if there's open branches? There's branches there. Again, review. Um, well, again, what I'm trying to do is for myself that I'm trying to say, okay, what does that matter? I'm not going to be opinionated about that right this second. The fact that it can show it is what matters the most because a release coordinator could go through and um, read those. Yeah. I need to change that language as well. Okay, so right now, this is working as intended. It's a complicated flow. This is pretty much the most complicated flow through my system I've actually done yet. It's not simple. I've actually used my workflow stuff more than my mediator stuff because of multiple concerns. We'll get there. Okay, so let's get that. Uh, which we'll just add that in the next commit. There's no, it's a formatting thing. Um, Actually, it gets squashed anyway. Let's do that. So when a when an entity's changed, we have the hubs, right? So we have the entity sync hubs. Technically, that's a task that's changed, but the actual tying PRs to issue or issues to PRs is really helpful. Right. I mean, that's um, that's what the tasks. That's what the linking does, right? To try and do that. So GitHub. So this is a task receiver. So this actually might already do this. Update associated tasks. Task branch receiver. Right. So yeah, we don't have a task there. But I think what we need to do there is on receipt of a task. I think we do that. Is that an iEvent publisher? Yeah, iEvent publisher. So this part is do I have version on there? Well, that's not why don't we have event version on branch integration event? Oh, it's not. Interesting. So version It's nullable. Okay. Okay. It's nullable. Um, so we're going to say the task has changed because the branch integration event. So this is the GitHub. This is the SignalR piece. So what happens is when I receive a change and in the event receiver, I do whatever I need to do to update the data, and then I push um, an event locally, which will publish another Kafka message, and this will go to development localhost 8080. Sorry for the bright white screen. This will go to here, and this will go to the um, changes. Yes, entity changes. So things have changed, and now Kafka, that's listened to in Kafka, and the entity hub here, the receiver here, will receive that event and then push to Kafka to SignalR through the hub. So the hub is being connected to. So if I'm in a um, if I'm in a screen that is listening, it will push the change immediately. Now, I still don't think that this design's perfect because if I'm not in a screen that's listening to tasks, I'm unsubscribed from that hub. I don't always reload the task, which is why that other screen worked because I'd just gone into a different screen and it reloaded the data, I think. Yeah, so I've got to fine tune some of those things, and that's why I say this sort of design is not really for everyone, especially not a single person. This is not a this should be a team thing because there's so many moving parts at this point um, to pay attention to. Uh, but it's just a lot to fit in my head. Let's see where we are, viewers. If you are new to the stream and you're just hanging out, if you do have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to share. I'm happy to talk about this stuff. Why did I just pause? um, uh, the stream is not about necessarily me getting code done. It's about me, sharing what I'm doing. Gotcha. Gotcha. So overall, I think this is working pretty well. So that change we just made there, that will mean that when we change a task branch, we will publish the fact that a task has changed. My head is cropped. Oh, that is zoomed in. there you go. I don't have the control to tilt the camera because the camera tilts itself based upon where I'm sat. It's me fidgeting that's caused that. Do we really care about my head being cropped? I got an OBS bot camera, so it tracks me. So if I move, it will move with me. Is the idea? But it basically looks like what it did there is zoom in. So yeah. If you've not learned anything about the way I am yet, if you tell me something's wrong, I naturally think that it bugs you and I have to go fix it, whether I want to or not. I asked you if you care, not that I care. But anyway, back to the point. So I think that's working well enough for me right this second to say that I'm happy that that is my initial GitHub integration. There's lots more things I could do. There's lots more events I could listen to. There's things like comments on PRs. There's all sorts of events that come through GitHub. If I go to, and there's going to be missing things, right? I know there's going to be missing things. I'm not panicked about them. A push. So if I just push a branch and I haven't been, this wasn't enabled for the create of that, that might be something I want to tackle. Because if we didn't enable the integration, now we do a push. We've now got a branch that we haven't seen before. What should we do? That is one potential. Delete webhook, create webhook, process pull request, and process installation. So this is when you initially enable the back and forth with making sure all the right pieces are found so that it can push your PR to the correct tenant. That's a big thing I've got to make sure I'm doing all the time is tenancy. This installation ID comes through on every PR, every branch, etc. The installation ID is present, and that is initiated here. So what happens is the organizations table contains the installation ID, and then I create a connection identifier on the other side and then tie them together. So only when I have those two tied together should I be publishing information. And that gives me the tenant identifier, which means that when I push a message from this side, I can always attach the tenant identifier to that message. And it's a part of the packet, the envelope. So it has to be there. Well, it doesn't have to be there apparently, but yeah. Actually, that's a good point. We should make that fail. If that's not present, I don't want it to just accidentally send stuff. So we'll make it blow up if it's not present. Branches, branch created. I mean, that wouldn't actually cause a big problem because on the other side, when it's attaching data, it has to look for a task by reference and tenant. So if I go to create branch workflow or register branch workflow over here, so we first get that very three or whatever the actual reference is, and then task by reference for tenant. So we go and find that task by its tenant identifier. So we'd never find the task and we just say not found, and then we'd be done. I'm not putting lots of logs in here. I'm not putting any statistics right this second. I don't care. That's just a silent fail, and it just does nothing to the system. But the same, making sure that that blows up if we don't have a tenant ID is, and the way that could happen is if the webhook is active before we've completed the connection from the other side. Because from a workflow perspective, when you say, "Hey, register GitHub," it's me using my hands that's the problem. I can control the camera with my hands. So there's some hand gesture I'm making there that's doing it. Okay, less hand waving. But ultimately, the GitHub installation happens by the webhook will fire from the GitHub side, and the message will trigger from the Liquid Sky side, which will then line up in the GitHub service to combine to make this information. So they have to align. If I received an event before that had been completed, that could throw that error up. So I'm going to leave it like that because I want to see that that can happen. Because then if I created a branch or something, or I did a push, the only way I'd know about that branch is that workflow, which is probably the thing I should implement. I should implement this one. So this would be if push event dot. Okay. So what does this look like? What is a push event received? So with a push event, we have before and after, which is the hashes. We have a pusher, which is the person. For some reason, the actual name of the person who pushed it, and the email. We have the repository. So ref is going to be the branch. What I'm wondering is if this event is pretty much almost identical to that. Is there a different type of push? Base ref, no. Forced, we know the difference between a force and whatnot. Don't really care about forced. So what I was trying to get to is there's no, a push is a push. There's never a push of a tag or but still a push of tags is still a push of to a branch, isn't it? So that's not any different. So yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create branch pushed workflow. And these are workflows because they're not, because they coordinate a few different things potentially. These actually right now look more like commands, so I probably will switch these to more mediator handlers. The intention of my workflow stuff, the use case stuff, is to coordinate several different actions that might actually trigger commands, rather than fitting. I don't like having iSender inside of Mediator. It just gets a bit confusing, but this is almost going to be identical. So I'm just going to copy this for right this second to verify what we need to change. I know enough about it to be confident that's not actually a problem for me right this second. That's that. That's that. Let's go with parameters. Yeah, that's fine. Last name is not valid. You're not valid. There you are. Publish and branch push workflow. That's not fine. Okay. So we get the organization, make sure it's a valid thing, and then we're gonna publish uh what class GitHub branch pushed. I don't I don't think there's actually very much in here. I think we're gonna do our combination thing again. Uh, uh, maybe not. Feels wasteful creating an entire file for one line of code, but it's fine. So this will do. GitHub branch pushed. Don't need deleted out there. Pushed out still valid. Most of this is still valid. So publish push events. Need to go and do. So these events, all this is the difference in where are you? Here. In this topic, this is an enveloped message, and this all goes to GitHub events. So no matter what the shape, the deleted, the pushed, etc., all goes into the same topic, and these all get processed out of this one, which is which is what took me so long to get all this working. Frank, hello. Good morning. How are you doing? So, GitHub branch pushed, GitHub branch pushed. We need to register. We need to add a topic for events.github.github branch push. So this is one of those areas where I'm using skills. So in Claude, I've created a skill that says, okay, when I say, hey, I want a branch created, it goes and registers the branch. In Kafka, it goes and adds it to my list of topics to create if I'm bringing the system up from scratch, and it updates my console configuration and pushes the updated change, and that's what all the apps read from when it starts. Doing fine in this cool morning. How about you? Doing good. It dropped 30 degrees off the temperature. The rainstorms we had yesterday, so it's a nice morning today. It was 95 yesterday, and it's 65 today. So, which is more my sort of temperature. GitHub branch pushed. Events for Liquid Sky. GitHub events. So yeah, I have a skill set up to do all those configuration things, and that has to be there before I can do this. It's lovely here today after a week of rain. Yeah, we've had a week of items, and then we do a week of rain now. But it's good. My lawn won't look like a hay pile. So we're going to do here workflow configuration. We're going to add our branch pushed. Push workflow. Again, these should be, I think at this point, these are small enough to be commands rather than be workflows. It's not what these are intended for. But the benefit of being the solo dev. So all this is going to do is, because the parameters are almost identical, right? We're going to do that. I'm going to do branch pushed workflow. That's why. Branch pushed. This is one of the designs I don't like. This is branch push workflow, and then this is going to be push event. They're identical. And then when we do a push now, it will also do an update and push the event out. Oh, Joe, good morning. So we have that. We have that. Implement. Oh, yeah, we need to incorporate that differently. Kendall, hello. How you doing? Stoney should go to bed. Stoney not been to bed yet? Okay. Yeah. So now we have. So part of doing that topic update was it will now have that new event added in here. So at the bottom, GitHub branch pushed. So that, again, all these go to the events topic, and they're all enveloped so that um, they have the content and the everything else around them. So from GitHub workflow side, so I'm going to commit that one. That push a task update the signal when task branch updated. Most of these events go into the tasks on the task side, on the actual task side of the application, and then they publish a task branch updated. So every single one of these will trigger that workflow. Today we are working on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do a push of a change to that, and it should allow me to capture that branch. What do you mean? I slept over 8 hours already. Leave me alone. So I've been working on implementing branches in Kaizu. So now when a branch is created, a branch is pushed, a branch is deleted, we will be able to see against the task. I think at some point soon I have to wipe all the data out of this system and start again, because obviously I've got a lot of tasks that have no references because that was pre-reference work. I think it's going to skew the data at some point, because one of the challenges you have is when you're building a system and adding data as you go. When you change behavior, you have to determine, is that a bug caused by what I've done in the code, or is that a bug caused by existing data not being quite up to snuff? So yeah. So yeah. So the design here is, it says the design here when nothing's running. We're going to run. Come on. There you go. Okay. So now when I click on a task, I get the list of the list of branches, and whether there's a PR. So that was merged. That one's merged May 21st. Yeah, these are closed pull requests. So that's what I've been focusing on recently. What I'm working on now is when you do a push. So if we enable our integration, so we get to settings, subscription, dashboards, connections. Connections isn't up there yet. You can see this is connected to my TBD develop account. There'll be ability to have more connections here eventually, but this will then enable the GitHub feature, and now branches will work. And yeah, things like that. Go out there. So yeah, it's coming along. um, so what I'm doing now is that if you do a push, it will take the change. So I think that's last updated, so that might actually work. So if we do a branch, so if I go to here, go to verify 2 branches, is this closed? Yeah, they're closed. I should delete them. Should I delete them? Because that then technically reopens that, doesn't it? Again, I've got to be careful here. I've got to stop myself from going too far ahead with what I want to have happen, because otherwise I'm not going to gather any feedback on what people want to have happen. And if I've gone too far, then I'd be less inclined to want to change it or take in that feedback. Can I give you some terribly horrible comments on the Kaizu.io website? You may, yes, if you want to. I'm sure it isn't, but it feels very AI. It is very AI. You're right. You're very right. It is. On this one, or that one? This one. Yes, it's deliberately AI. Yes. Um, the intent is not for it to be anything other than just a placeholder with some visuals. It's to try, because when I go into streams, I can't show this, and even this is AI, right? There's a lot of AI in this UI. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you are right. Design is not my forte, right? So, but it gives people more. How do I put it? It allows me to show the intent more clearly, and people do attach more, like they can visualize more if it looks good, right? And this is where AI is helping me a lot, in that I don't have to work. And even all this is AI generated in terms of the layout and stuff. I've prompted it and I've got to what I want it to do, and I like it. It's in my vision, but at the same time, my goal with the UI here has always been, and even on here, has always been at the point where this is an actual product potential and it could make some money, then I can hire someone who does know what they're doing to design the actual thing I want to design and then lay out the tool properly. But I've just been pragmatic about it in that this stuff, the backend stuff, is the piece that I love the most. Right? I love doing this more than I love messing around with pixels, and I'm not very good at it. So yeah, so it's not bad. It's pragmatic is the way I'm going to put it. And I need new screenshots soon because there's a lot changed in this since I did that. Yes, pragmatism is very important. Yeah. Well, if I had the time, if I could sit down and say, okay, let's learn, then I would use AI for learning 100%. And I have done it in a lot of places. But I also don't want to lose momentum, and I think a lot of us lose momentum with projects is when we get bogged down in the small pieces, the pieces that don't entertain us as much. Because I don't know of any developers that love 100% every single moment of software development. There's something in there that you won't enjoy, and when you hit that point of in your project where you have to tackle the things you don't enjoy, that's where the project's more likely to fail because you've not got the energy for it. You can also give it instructions like don't use hover effects. Yeah. So, um, so yeah, it's more a. I think it's helped me progress this project in massive amounts, um, on things like the administration stuff, the stuff you don't see on the stream, where I actually go off and um, uh, have it work on the infrastructure components, and I have it like write the scripts and do all those things for me, so I don't have to do database updates. It screwed it up 2 or 3 times already, like massively screwed it up. Um, it's going to be challenging, but yeah. So use of AI is not something I'm avoiding, more using um, sparingly. And I'm still handwriting a lot of this because it's still the stuff that I love doing and amuses me the most. So now, when we receive that event, so I should have pushed an event there to test that, but I've got plenty of examples. Um, when we receive an event, what's going to happen is this GitHub events receiver here is the kind of the hub. Retry the squad. No, no. I honestly I should look more into tooling and features available to me. But at the same time, I don't get this. Hey, look, I've got a team of developers. Look, there's Bob and there's Jeff, and Jeff's an experienced developer, and Bob's a junior, and we've got a product manager, and this is all AI. Like, it just from what I've done so far with AI, it just means that I'm just creating a lot more stuff I can't crack. Um, that's part of the fun. AI product manager. Yeah, yeah. I don't. Um, I mean, yeah. I realize that what I'm building right now is very much probably never going to see the light of day, based upon the way AI has come around in the 2 years since I started it. Um, um, and things like Squad. I mean, I'm looking at Squad now. Yeah, I see it. Right. It basically means that this product is just a. Now, I do have intention of putting AI stuff in this. That is very much a piece I want to do. But if you've got a tool that lays it all out, um, to the point of Dota with the analysis before, right? If I ask AI what I'm missing, because I don't have the imagination to understand what I'm missing, it's going to use what it has from other products to try and tell me my product needs to work in this way, right? Um, a lot of the companies who focused on only vibe coding and undercutting the pricing are going to be getting a wake up call. Yeah, I mean, it's a very strange world. I was reading Maybe's post earlier on about how the landscape has changed, how people's comments and messages and stuff on Reddit, etc., of very different now. Yeah, social contract. Yeah, I was building a model object. I added what I thought would be good stuff to have. Mr. Anhorn, 18 months. We've been doing this a while. We have been doing this a while. Um, uh, Instead of me going back and forth with migrations because I missed the basics, so I asked AI if I thought I should have a few other things in that, and it gave me a few ideas. I took a few and discarded a few applications. It's a lot of support. Delve more because of ChatGPT according to a TED talk. Delve. the, the thing that people don't do into the code anymore. One of the things I have found, I don't know if anyone else has found this, is um, if I start um, it if I start something with AI, I find it very hard to break out of that cycle with it because it's kind of driving the design a little bit more, and I'm not thinking about it organically. So I find it tough to break out and start thinking for myself again. Um, and that's a struggle I've got into because then kind of push down its design path. I don't know if anyone else has found that. And a few of these instances, I've gone down a path that it's told me to go down, and it's just been wrong. Once I got to the design, I just didn't like it. Done the thing for handling support tickets, and it suggested things like resolved by. I planned before was using updated by, but then I started thinking that maybe it's actually been set as resolved by someone who didn't do the last edit. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. But so that's where I've used it more as that discussion piece to try and get it to give the plan I want rather than the plan it thinks, and try and not have it tell me what I should do and have it help me get my thoughts online. But it got a lot of this GitHub stuff very wrong. It made assumptions. There was a lot of um, cross wires. It was inconsistent on what one side was doing on the other. I didn't have it do the code, but I did have it kind of give me a plan. And the plan it gave me was just off. Oh, I gotta finish up. No. Um, um, process, push, um, branch, push, branch, push. What for? Not a bush. Someone could resolve it and go in and tag it with something to get reporting correct. In my first draft, I would have moved the person who resolved it over to the one who changed the tag. So yeah, it gave me ideas. I still built the first object, and I thought some of the suggestions were bad. Other than that, really good completion and implementing the boring stuff, like forms. Yeah, but again, like I said, I've found a real struggle with um, once I start down using the tooling, I find it very hard to break out of the tooling. And I find it very hard to go back to my own line of thought. So I'm kind of committed to using it because, well, I'm using the tooling wrong. Possible. It's more. I don't think it's necessarily I'm using it wrong. I think it's more. Um, I'm not liking the fact that my thought goes away at some point in that process, and it's just doing what it's doing, and then I can't follow its flow. Um, yeah, it just doesn't sit right. So anyway, so what we're going to do here is we're going to see if do we have this branch registered. Uh, if yes, mark it as updated. If no, register the branch, which I think we should be able to do with that. So we still have to do this code though. Yeah. I'm getting very tired of. I mean, I know that you're just joking there, but I am getting very tired of basically you know, I'm clearly wrong if because I'm not using it. So, but it is what it is. It is is part of our world right the second. It would be stupid to ignore it. Um, I still prefer being a developer. I don't like being a coordinator or a uh, director. So yeah, wow, so few people streaming these days. Is props in German today? Um, oh, you're telling me. It is very hard because you can't talk about software. I like writing code. The AI will come for us first. Oh no, you weren't rude at all. You were not rude at all. Uh, huh. Well, yeah, there's so many few streamers these days. Streaming dev that I go to. Napalm, hello. How you doing? Just in time, as always. This me starting early thing. I know. um, does anyone have any suggestions for raid targets? Preferably working on dev. I don't have anyone in my list that is. So props is working, but it's a Thursday, which likely means German stream. It's slim pickings these days from my list. .NET developers, they're rare. See if Stony timed it right, he could have had a stream up by now. Yeah. So we're rating down. I'm not looking. Yeah, Dylan. We'll trust your guys' suggestions. So let's have a look. I and effect, yes. Yeah, let's go raid Dylan. Haven't been there before. Huh. What does Dylan do work on? JavaScript and TypeScript ecosystem, passion for OCaml, Gleam, etc. Okay. Let's go see Dylan. I'm always for a new streamer I haven't seen before. Mojo, we can't collaborate. I'm sorry. It's time for me to go. Okay, so GitHub interactions working pretty well. I'm going to get the push working. That's not much more than just getting it to make sure that it registers branches. From there, it's more about tidying up that release process, saying, "Hey, can a release be treated as is a release ready to go?" Right, that's the goal. Can we say, "Yep, this release is ready," and that's then this feature in its first version complete. From there, I think my focus will switch to actually getting this deployed. You are perfectly fine. Appreciate you coming by. I appreciate the conversation as always. Absolutely no issues. So anyway, let's go raid Dylan. I will be back next week, hopefully with some GitHub stuff functional. Yeah, so thank you for joining me. I appreciate it, and I'll see you. Have a great weekend. See you next time. Bye all.